Investors want to know where the best place to put their money is, right? Is it the stock market or is it the real estate market? With experience in both, today I'm going to give you my insight.
You better get fired up.
Guys, happy Friday. I appreciate you joining me. Today we're getting into a topic that honestly I'm a huge nerd about. I love talking about this stuff. I'm a big numbers person, right? I'm an analytical. And I've invested in real estate. I've invested in the stock market. I've had success in both. I've had failures in both. And so today I want to share with you which I think is better. And I'll tell you right off the bat, there's no right or wrong answer. There's no yes or no. It's not black and white. There are reasons you would want to do one. There are reasons you would want to do other. But as I go through these, if you've got questions, comments, anything like that, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, feel free to put them in the comments and I will certainly bring them up and answer any questions or at least respond to any comments that you've got. So let's start with the stock market. For me, the stock market, one of the pros is it's really simple, right? You can take a grand, 5 grand, 10 grand, 100 grand, whatever it is, and you can plow into the stock market. And I'll tell you, I don't ever think about the stock market as gambling. I don't look at it like, okay, I'm going to shake these dice and throw it out. And, maybe this company's going to hit, maybe it's not. I don't look at that at all. The way I look at it is much like Buffett, right? I kind of learned about the stock market and investing and all that through Buffett and his books. And so I look at it like I am literally purchasing a small little sliver of this big company, and I am now an owner. And if I were to take over with their balance sheet and their P&Ls and the profits that they've got consistently coming in, or maybe not consistently coming in, would I want to buy into that company? And if I would, well, then I can, right, through the stock market, which is super cool. If I wouldn't, then don't buy into hype and excitement and everything else and purchase it based on a gamble. Don't purchase the company. And if another company doesn't have the hype or the excitement or anything else, but it's got great P&Ls, all the paperwork behind it looks awesome, the numbers look awesome, buy into it, man. That's what I fully believe. So for me, I've invested in the stock market for a while now. It was one of the first things I did when I got into the Army was I started saying, hey, we're going to stock away a certain amount of money. Anybody who isn't in investing, my gosh, if I can speak to you as a father, put 10 to 20% of your income away. I promise you it's going to suck on month 1, month 2, month 3. I promise you, if there's anybody who can live off of that income, right, the reduced income, because you're putting 10 to 20% away, you can do it. I know you can do it. And yes, it sucks. But the positive is down the road when you go to retire, you're going to have a nest egg. And I'll tell you, you don't even have to wait until you're 60, 65 years old to get the benefits. Right now, as a 40-year-old, my stress levels are severely reduced because I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about my bills being paid. I don't have to worry about some big medical procedure. I've got a nest egg that I can reach back to, and it certainly makes my life a lot more comfortable, right? I don't want to touch it. I want to leave it there, but it's just the mentality of knowing if something happens, I don't have to stress out. We've got solutions. We've got plan Bs, right? So really, guys, it'll change your life. And my gosh, if that's not motivating enough, it'll change your kid's life, right? I'm not even saying give them the money. I'm saying it'll change the mentality of your kids. If you haven't instilled, well, I should say it this way. If your parents haven't instilled you the fact that you need to save 10 to 20% of your income for your future, for your retirement, but you do it for your kids, you are doing your kids an incredible service that wasn't done for you, and you are leveling up as a parent, right? So just want to say that right off the bat. So stocks, super easy. You can get in with $100, you can get in with $1 million and everything in between, and it's fluid. So if you put in 10 grand today and all of a sudden next week you've got a car that breaks down, or you've got a medical issue, or whatever it is, there might be some, what's the word I'm looking for? Penalties or taxes or something like that you're gonna pay. But other than that, it's fluid. You can get it out within a day, 2 days, 3 days, something like that, right? A short amount of time, and you can utilize that money. That is a pro to the stock market. Here's a con. Typically speaking, the overwhelming majority of people investing in the stock market, I'll tell you, I'm a huge believer in the S&P 500 index fund, the cheapest one you can find. And if you look over the span of not 5 years, not 10 years, but let's say 100 years, you're going to find that any 20, 30-year span, assuming you're a long-term investor, some of the worst are going to make you 7-8% a year on average. Some of the best, you're going to get 11 or 12%. So you're looking at roughly a 10% average for an S&P 500 index fund. Now, could you make 20, 30, 40%? Absolutely. Could you lose your money? Absolutely. You can do all kinds of things, right? But when you look at what I would say is a fairly conservative, I apologize, I got a cough, I can't get rid of it. A fairly conservative way of investing, it's a pretty confident way. If you're looking at, hey, I make this much income, I'm going to put this much away, I'm 20 years old, do the math up to 65, and even go on the lighter end of the numbers I was sharing, maybe 8% annually, you can see how it's very reachable to be a millionaire, a multimillionaire for most people's incomes. I know a handful of people who their whole lives have never made more than $30,000, $40,000, and they've either got $1 million or close to $1 million in the bank by just living within their means. Is it easy? No. Am I saying it's easy? No. Is it easy with kids? No. But imagine the stress that they don't have because they've done that, right? So there's the stock market. Now, if you're going out and you're buying one stock, two stocks, you're getting really aggressive, you're day trading, something like that. I can't speak to that. I've never done it. I'm not an expert on it, but I'll tell you that is a lot closer to gambling. And your results are going to be all over the place, right? If I take 10 investors who day trade, I can show you probably one or two who are going to make 20, 30, 40, 50%, maybe more. I'm going to show you maybe one or two or three who lost it all, or, at least 50%. And then you're going to have the folks in the middle who, maybe lose 10% or gain 20% or somewhere in the middle there. It is a roller coaster, okay? And it depends on your skill. It depends on luck. It depends on timing. And even if you've got all that down, the market can do anything short term, right? Long term, I'm talking 20, 30-year spans. You're going to see on an S&P 500 index fund, nobody ever has made less than 7% annualized, ever, right? So if it happens to you, you'll be the first one ever. So that's important to note, right? To me, it's a much more conservative buy. Now, here's with real estate. With real estate, it's more time intensive. You're probably going to have to put more time in. And I will say this, the more time you put in, the more you're likely to get out of it. You can, on average, make way more money in real estate than you can make on the stock market in most cases. But there are different types of risks. For example, if you put 50 grand into a stock, you can lose 50 grand. If you put 50 grand into a $300,000 home because you've got a $250,000 mortgage and a roof issue, a mold issue, a settling issue, right? Maybe you've got a bad foundation. These are things that, while the roof happens quite a bit, mold doesn't happen a whole lot. Settling, I've dealt with thousands of transactions. I've literally never seen one close. I think I've seen 2 or 3 where I've really been concerned about the foundation, but it wasn't a transaction. It stopped, right? So the odds that you have something like that happen are pretty slim, but they could happen. Okay. You could see maybe a $2,000, $3,000 issue. You're going to start working on it. You tear apart the wall and all of a sudden, boom, there's mold, there's water, there's whatever, jacked up plumbing. It could be a million things. You've got a little bit bigger risk factor with real estate, but like with anything, the bigger the reward you want, the bigger the risk you're going to have to take on. So what I always recommend is, if that is a path that you're going to go down, reach out to somebody who's done this before. I've done it before. There's some wonderful people locally here who have done it before. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there. There's a lot of bad advice out there too, so be careful. But find somebody who's maybe done at least 5. I'll tell you, there's a lot of people who've done 1 or 2, and there's a lot of people who've done a ton. There aren't a lot of people who've done 3, 4, 5, 6. People have either done 1 or 0 or 15, right? That tends to be what we see. So if you're going to do that, you can make a lot more money. But here's the thing. It's time intensive. If I'm going to put 50 grand into a stock, I'm done. I can go on with my life. I can go on with my whatever, and I can check on it every week. I can check on it every day. I don't recommend that. I can check on it every year. I can never check on it. It doesn't matter. And it's going to perform at the pace that that company is performing over time, right? I can't buy a property and forget it. Even if You've got a management company, right? If you're doing, there's different types of investments too. We should get into that. But even if you've got a management company who's running this, they're still going to contact you and ask you questions. They're still going to send you stuff. They're still going to ask for money when things are needing to be fixed. You're still going to be a part of it. You're going to be less of a part of it. You're going to pay them money to get back your time. And for a lot of people, that makes sense. But you're still involved, right? If you don't have a management company, you're involved even more. When the toilet doesn't work, you've got to go fix it. When the electric doesn't work, you've got to go fix it. And sometimes these problems are emergencies because you've got people living here, right? With kids sometimes. And some of these things happen on Saturdays at 1 a.m. So, yes, the money has the potential to be a lot better, but it is riskier and it's more time intensive. Okay. So, realize that too. Now, there's different types of investments, and there's more than even what I'm going to say. But the three types that I typically talk about are buy and holds, which are, tend to be rentals. And now you're a landlord. You've got all those concerns we were just talking about. And if you take them on, you can make some pretty good money. I usually say, if you've got a mortgage involved, you should be shooting for $200 to $400 a month in cash flow. And over time, that person is paying down your mortgage. So if you hold on to that for 20, 30 years, now you own a property that you didn't even pay for. They paid for. Thank you very much. And now maybe you bought it for 300 grand. 30 years later, you're probably going to see that property is worth double or triple that price, maybe more, right? So now if you are in your 20s or 30s and you buy 2 or 3 properties and you might only put 20, 30, 40 grand into each, if you can do that, find that money and get those 2 or 3 properties, now you've only put maybe 60 grand into 3 properties, but by leveraging a mortgage, 3 mortgages in this case, when you retire, you're going to have 3 properties that are all paid off that are maybe worth $750 each, right? That's pretty amazing. And you didn't pay all them down. You paid the upfront cost to get the mortgages, but the people in the house paid it down. And whatever you're making on that monthly, I wouldn't go out and spend that like it's income. Save it, because you're going to have a roof issue, you're going to have a mold issue, you're going to have whatever. So you're going to save that, right? So that's the first type. Second type is wholesaling. And I'll tell you, I don't see a lot of people doing well with wholesaling unless you've got experience and you are doing it full time. Wholesaling is, hey, would you sell your home for $250? Yeah, cool. Let me write a contract. Boom, sign here, right? But then that contract allows me to go sell it to somebody else. So now, while I've got this contract, I've got a period of time, maybe it's 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, whatever it is. And I am trying to go out and find somebody who will buy it for $260. And then I'm going to make that 10 grand on the middle, right? That's a wholesaler. So again, I highly suggest you got to be really, really experienced, educated, good with numbers, good with money to be able to do that. But yes, there's money to be had. I would say though, that's like a business, right? Is it investing? Yes. Can you work whatever job that you work and get a rental or 2 on the side, and that's your side hustle and that's kind of your free time? Absolutely you can, right? You're probably not going to do that with wholesaling. I don't know a lot of successful wholesalers who aren't working at least 40, 50 hours a week. So that's probably a little bit more challenging. The third type is a flip, right? So you're going to buy it. You're going to do some sort of change to the property, some sort of improvement, repairs, replacements, whatever it is. And then you're going to go sell it shortly thereafter because you want to keep your costs low. There's holding costs, right? The longer you hold it, the more you're paying on whatever money you've borrowed, assuming you've got some sort of money that you're borrowing and it's not cash. So, and even if it is cash, you've got holding costs on your cash. You could be putting that money somewhere else, making money, but now it's making no money. It's sitting there. You make the money when you sell, right? So you're on the clock no matter what. But you're going to buy that property. And the trick is really knowing, there's a couple tricks, knowing what is this property going to be worth when I sell it, right? In the condition I plan on it being in. And how much is it going to take me to get to that position? And what kind of profit do I need to make? And then you've got to be able to get people in there. Maybe it's yourself, maybe it's contractors, and they got to get in there quickly, efficiently, because again, time is money. And then you've got to be able to market it. So either you're going to get a professional realtor like myself to come in there and help you market it, but we cost money, right? So that has to be a part of your plan when you're submitting that initial offer. All of these costs have to be a part of it, right? Or you're going to sell it yourself, but now you better be good at selling it yourself, right? And then you're going to make the difference. So let's just use some just blanket numbers. Let's say you're looking at a home that it doesn't even matter what they're asking for, but let's say they're asking 250. And you think, man, if I were to get these 5 things done, it would cost me $40,000, and I think this home would be worth 320. All right, that's what I could sell for, is 320. But it's going to cost me 40 grand to get there. Okay, 320 minus 40 grand is 280. But I got to make some money, right? I got to make some money off of this. So I want to make maybe 20 grand. That brings me down to 260. But now I've got the cost to buy and I've got the cost to sell. Let's say all of that, man, I got to make up a number here, is about 40 grand, right? So now instead of 280, you're looking at 240. Well, they're asking 250. Again, I say, I don't care what you're asking. If my number is above 250, I'm going to offer you full price at 250. If it's below, this is not an emotional thing to me. I'm not in any way emotionally attached to it. I'm submitting my offer for 240. Now, if you take it, I can go in, I can get the 40 grand in repairs done. I can pay all the closing costs on the buy side, fix it up, pay the closing costs on the sell side, and I'm making my $20,000. I'm happy. Everybody's happy. We're good to go, right? That is a flip. That's very time intensive. Even if you're not doing the work yourself, you've got to go find the property. You got to put in all the offers. Even if you got a realtor doing this, and I've got investors who do this through me, you've still got to communicate with that realtor to let them know what you want to offer on that property. You got to analyze what you think that property's worth. You've got to get the contractors in there. You've got to get bids from the contractors. You got to secure the contractor, communicate with them. They're not going to show up. You got to make sure they show up. And then when you get close, you got to start talking with your realtor. Hey, we need it on the market. We need it on this day. Come get photos, but you can't get it until this contractor gets done with this because the photos won't look that good. Make sure you get your sign up. It's on the MLS. And then I need a contract yesterday, right? So you're going to get through all this. It's exciting. It's fun. Yes, you can make more money. But again, the con is it's more time intensive, right? So I would say if you're young, if you're aggressive, if you are maybe single, if you don't have kids, whatever, and you are one of those go-getters, then absolutely you're going to make more in real estate. Go after it, right? And you're going to learn so much about life. I can tell you, just being in real estate, I've learned so much more about law, about life, about negotiation, about people, personalities, all of that stuff than I have in any other maybe strata of my life, right? So it's been incredibly helpful, not even just in business, but just in life, growing into being a good man, an intelligent man, a wise man. It'll do that for you, right? It's an amazing, amazing industry. But if you don't have that time, or you don't have that, I forget what my good buddy Jason Young, he's the best financial advisor on the Treasure Coast. What does he call it? Risk aversion, risk tolerance, whatever it is. What is your palate for risk? If you don't like risk, then I would stick with a guy like Jason and put it in. And now you've got the fluidity and everything else. I would really say real estate's for someone who has the personality of going all in and has the time to do it and has a little bit higher tolerance. That's what I'm talking about. Higher tolerance for risk, right? If you guys have any questions or you want to talk about this a little bit more, maybe your specific situation, what it would entail, what the cash looks like, everything else, I'm more than happy to get on the phone with you, get on a Zoom with you, meet you for coffee, and talk about this stuff. I'm addicted to it, man. So however I can help you, you let me know. But guys, happy Friday. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Take